Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today I want to read this article because I remember this from like forever ago, basically. I think somewhere I think it was in England or something, there was this ad back in 2015, and it was like, "Are you Beachbody ready?" And it was it was like a woman who was in shape, and it like caused the photosphere to go crazy, basically. And I think they got the ad removed and all this stuff. And I guess it's been 10 years since that ad. So I want to go ahead and read this article because I remember that. I remember the media firestorm of it at the time. Again, I was always paying attention to fatness stuff. So let's go ahead and read this. Beachbody Ready, why a decade after that controversial ad, nothing has changed. As summer looms and talk of aiming for bikini bodies amps up on social media, Olivia Petter asks if anything has really changed since that viral advert from 2015. Are you Beachbody ready? For many of us, that question will conjure up the same image. A svelte woman standing uncomfortably straight in a bright yellow bikini, her eyes sharp, if a little vacant, reflecting everything that's wrong with our own bodies right back at her. With the aforementioned question in bold lettering positioned behind her, it was an advert released in 2015 by Protein World, a meal replacement brand peddling its weight loss supplement, and it caused a major stir, sparking viral outrage and a spate of copycat campaigns turning the messaging on its head. Everybody is Beachbody ready, as well as getting banned in the UK due to concerns over the implication that taking Protein World supplement would boost weight loss. At the time, the outrage was encouraging. Oh my gosh, the person writing this. Few women weren't rattled by such reductive, archaic branding, one that's entirely predicated on female insecurities. Strip away the pomp and pageantry, and the message of the campaign was simple. If you don't look like this, aka very slim, very muscular, and with impossibly rounded, perky breasts, you can't be seen in a bikini and should take our supplement so that you can. It was reassuring to see how little time anyone was willing to give such a sentiment. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of mixed reactions. What I remember a lot of at the time was people having reactions to fat acceptance, people having reactions to it. I remember that. That's what I remember. I remember people being like, wow, this is insane. And I remember people being like, why is it a big deal or whatever. Like, it was weird. I don't even remember everything about it at the time, but that's the stuff that I guess I remember is people being like, why is that a big deal? Basically, which I guess we're back to why is that a big deal? The body positivity movement gathered pace, ensuring women of all shapes and sizes felt confident being in their bikinis. Did it? I mean, I get so bothered when I hear this narrative. Like, I think a lot of fat acceptance, they push this narrative that it was so different. And I don't think it was. I really, really don't. Like, even Jubilee, I think they did a fat versus fit, or no, it was like, do fat people think the same? It was something like that. You know how Jubilee is. They did something like that in like 2018, basically. And it's like, I feel like there were still people on there that were wanting to lose weight, basically. I don't know how else to say it. Like, they were still saying it, and it's like, that's 2018. This ad moment was in 2015. Like, it wasn't all that different. Like, I think that a lot of times people who say these kinds of things, they were just online all the time. Like, they weren't actually in reality, because I don't think it changed all that much. I think people wouldn't say things all the time, but to be honest, most of my quote unquote real life experiences, well, not quote unquote real life, I was going to say quote unquote fat phobic real life experiences, or most of my experiences with people in public saying things to me about my weight, took place in Southern California from 2015 to 2018, maybe 2016. Like, it was already like, so when they say these things, I'm like, I don't think it was ever real. Like, I'm sorry, I was actually out in public and there were still a lot of these things happening, or if anything, it had gotten worse because they had forced the issue, and it just kept getting worse to the point where I was like, oh my God, like, if this doesn't stop, like, by the time we got to 2022 and you had like the Taylor Swift anti-hero moment, I was like, oh my God, like, something needs to change. Like, this is getting really bad. Like, people are going to actually start hating fat people, like, legitimately, because it just kept getting worse every single year. And that's the vision that I saw. That's how I saw it. I think that it has actually shifted a little bit. Now I think that there is like a lot of pushing for WL now, but I think that people are actually more likely to, like, there's more support for fat people, I guess you could say, or people are more willing to look at the issue. People are more willing to think about the issue more critically today than they were like in 2018. I just don't think so. I'm sorry, I just don't. But according to them, it's totally different or whatever. I just don't agree. I guess for me, it maybe it is just what I paid attention to versus what they paid attention to. Because she's like, all these women were so happy that this campaign was taken down. I'm like, no, I remember people being really upset that it was taken down. And people were like, why are they doing this? You know, but again, I guess for me, I just kind of looked at the whole picture. I don't know. The body positive, okay. There were social media campaigns, viral essays, hashtags. For a while, it felt as if beauty standards were diversifying and making room for a wider range of body types. We hadn't solved everything by any means, but we were certainly making progress. I just don't agree. Now, a decade on, it seems like that progress has been stilted. On social media, a narrative of slimming down for summer has become increasingly pervasive, whether it's through hot girl summer workout tips, bikini booty programs, or summer diet tips. Often this kind of thing is cloaked by wellness culture. The party line is that you're doing this to be healthy, a conveniently admirable guise. Few will criticize. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised to see another iteration of the Beach Body Ready ad plastered all over Trafalgar Square, except the product being sold wouldn't be Protein World, it would be Ozempic. The weight loss drug is one of many aimed at diabetics due to its active ingredient of semaglutide, which regulates blood sugar and suppresses appetite by mimicking the body's naturally occurring hormone, GLP-1. There are restrictions on who can and cannot take these drugs, but that hasn't stopped thousands of people from finding various loopholes to take it off label, resulting in quick and easy weight loss they didn't need to lose in the first place. It has proven a disaster for those with ED, and an increasing number of alarming side effects are emerging. So I'm not really going to comment that much on GLP-1s. I just don't want to talk about it today. Just not today. I think that there's this idea that, this is what I will say. There's this idea that GLP-1s changed the narrative, changed things, made people suddenly not like being fat. That's not true. It's just, you just woke up. That's what I see. Because as somebody who was very, very fat between the years of, I don't know, forever, but especially 2015 to 2024 even, I was still super morbidly obese in 2024. I didn't see it as that different. It never really changed that much. There have been other movements that have ebbed and flowed. There have been other things where I see, okay, that was more appropriate then, this is less appropriate now, that was, and vice versa. A lot of other politics has evolved, but I don't think that the actual issue of being fat is all that different. The only thing you have now is, I don't know, instead of keto, it's GLP-1. You know what I'm saying? But it was the same thing. It's the same. This is a miracle. This is this. This is that. Like, and same thing before keto, it was veganism. This is the miracle. This is that. Da, 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 da. It's like, it was always a thing. Like, I just really, honestly, I don't see how it's any different at all. Like, I don't know where this narrative comes from. I really think, you know what? This is what I think it is. I think it's a lot of people who never left the house during the panoramic years. And they were like in this weird online bubble. And then they actually got out of their house again. And then they saw how it was before. Because I don't think it's changed that much. I really don't. I don't. I think if anything, it's, like I said, it's a little bit better. I think it hit a low point in 2022 where it was getting really kind of vicious. Like, people were really starting to hate fat people. Like, when I first started my activism in 2023, a lot of it was centered around like actually letting people know that not all hugely fat people are totally nuts. And it was like, that's kind of where I had to start. Like, think about that. That's where I had to start. That's how bad they had made it. It was terrible. There was a rising pushback that was just terrible. They had been horrible over the panorama. They were horrible. And a lot of people spoke up rightly against them during those years. And as it was starting to end, like I said, it was getting to a fever pitch where people were getting really, really pissed. There was all these scandals about plane seats and policies and things like that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is getting kind of vicious, basically. And I was, obviously, I had decided to do this as my activism, but what I had to work with in the beginning was the fact that they had completely destroyed the image of fat people. It was completely broken because, and I had to say, like, most fat people don't think this way. And that's true. I think it's still true today. Now, I do think there are a lot of super morbidly obese people that have toxic ritualistic issues, and that is a different issue, but that is a different problem entirely. It has nothing to do with, I don't know, this freaking campaign from 10 years ago. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So it's like, there are people who are kind of, you know, out there with those problems. But in terms of like your average person thinking that everybody should be hugely fat and just like glorifying obesity, glorifying overindulgence and these types of things, like, that is not true. It isn't true at all. It just isn't. So I think fat activists mistake the body positivity movement, which for fat acceptance, which all body positivity did was, it just, like I told you, I've said it many times on this channel, all it did was promote the idea to fat people that you should still live your life while you're fat. That's basically it. And you can take that and you can go to good places or you can go to bad places. That's the shift that occurred in 2015. But they couldn't just leave it there. They had to shut down showing anybody fit, and it's unrealistic, and it's this and it's that, and da da da. They immediately moved the goalposts to try to control everybody, which makes sense due to the pathological nature behind the movement. So of course that was going to happen because duh. Anyways. Okay, in retrospect, it's kind of a duh. But at the time, it was like, what the hell is going on? Basically. In the U.S., more than a dozen lawsuits have been filed on behalf of weight loss drug users who claim they've caused the loss of vision. Meanwhile, earlier this month, scientists at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that tens of thousands of Americans have ended up in the emergency room after taking semaglutide with symptoms including nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, and diarrhea. Yes, there are side effects on the drug. That's true. And yet people still seem desperate to get their hands on the stuff. Why? Because it will make them thin, and objective apparently so important that it's being prioritized over physical and mental health. So I don't like that answer. I didn't want to talk about this that much. Like with any drug, there are risks, but there are a lot of people who are not taking it just to be thin. There's a lot of health concerns behind it. There are a lot of people with diabetes, for example, that are taking it. There are people who are super morbidly obese taking it. There are people who are trying to take it for a lifeline. And I don't think that it's fair to judge people for that either. However, like with most drugs or any drug really, there are people who misuse it too. There are people who don't take it seriously. There are people who don't take care of themselves while they're on it. There are people who push themselves to the limits while they're on it. And it can cause a lot of issues. Like it can make those side effects a lot worse, for example. And then like with any medication, there are going to be some people that have problems from the medication. It's the same thing with any medication. So why would that drug be any different? But that doesn't mean that if somebody takes metformin, for example, they don't care about their physical and mental health or whatever. It's like, come on. People take drugs for a lot of different reasons. People are prescribed things for a lot of different reasons. I think it's stupid to say something like that, especially so blanketed. You can't say that. I think it's just dumb. It's really stupid to me. Okay. Meanwhile, rumors of which celebrities have and haven't been taking it. See, this is what they're obsessed with. They're obsessed with celebrities. They're obsessed with that. I live in reality. You know, I get, like, I have been obsessed with Taylor Swift. I have, but it's like, I do not give a if Taylor was taking Ozempic or not. Like, I just would not care. Like, it is her life. That is just so extra, especially, like, being in my 30s. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like, honey, it's her life. You're not in control of it. Like, get a grip. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. I just don't get it anymore. I really am in my I'm too old for this era. Like, I'm really starting to get too old for some of this stuff. But okay, let's go back to high school. Which celebrities have and haven't been taking it to shed the pounds have been percolating online relentlessly for the last 2 years. Some have taken aim at the Kardashians, a family once framed for inspiring others to embrace curvier body types that many believe have since wildly slimmed down. On the runways, there have been talk of how non-existent body diversity has become, with a large majority of the models maintaining the same singular, very slim body shape. And then there's just the way that people talk about their bodies among friends, particularly at this time of year. I mean, honey, this stuff didn't change. Like, what the hell? What were you living in? What alternate universe were you living in? I mean, do you think these people have amnesia or something? I'm serious. What? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. I'm like, honey, like, I think back to those years. I'm like, honey, it was always talked about. It was always this way. Even during the pandemic, there are plenty of people who are like, oh my gosh, I want to get in shape now because of this and blah, 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 blah. Like, there were so many people that were saying things like that. It's like, I really think that they are just kind of obsessed with their own point of view. Like, they cannot see things. So it's like, because they care about Ozempic, because they think about it, then that means everybody cares about it. Everybody's thinking about it every single day. Everybody's this, everybody's that. That's not true. Sure, Ozempic hit the toxic ritualistic sphere. Ozempic hit the phytosphere. But once again, there will be something else in a few years. It's always something. You know, all this is, I think, it's just a vehicle for their DIS order. It's a way for them to think about the reductive part of BINGE without actually taking part in it. They just think about Ozempic, Ozempic, Ozempic. Ozempic, Ozempic, blah, blah, blah. That's why they're obsessed with it. Because to me, it's like, honey, I was obsessed with keto. I was absolutely obsessed. I wonder why. Am I obsessed with my current lifestyle? No, I'm really not. Like, I just don't really care. Because I'm just like, whatever. It's just easy to me, and I just don't. I'm not in the toxic ritualistic world anymore. So it's like, I'm not obsessed with what I'm eating or not. I just live it like a normal human being. So it's like, it'll be something else soon enough. It's always that way. Trust me on that. There'll be a new one. There's a new one every few years. Anyways, okay. Like I said, it was vegan, then it was keto, and now it's Ozempic. I was online too. I know what was going on in the toxic ritualistic world. Anyways, okay. Of course, a little bit of self-consciousness is normal, but the noise around it seems louder than ever before, just because you were too isolated, I guess, during the panoramic years. That's probably why. Because I'm like, no. Like, all you're saying is, oh, it's so much worse the past 2 years. It's because you probably left your house the past 2 years. I didn't have the luxury to stay in my house all those years. I didn't. I had to get out. I had to work. So I was out. I was out by 2021. I got vaccinated and I was out. I couldn't risk it before that. And it was horrible. It was a horrible experience in 2020. It was just awful. Honestly, it was one of the worst times of my life. I don't even want to think about it too much. But 2021, I was out there. And it's like, I had to work. I had to live. That was it. So I was in reality. 2019. I was in reality 2021. It was the same. It's pretty much the same. Just telling you. So I guess for me, I didn't see this huge shock of, oh my gosh, because I didn't just sit in my house those years. So I guess that's why. But honestly, I think most people, even most people who did, they probably still felt the exact same way about obesity and fatness that they did before. Like, y'all were not that effective. Y'all were not doing much. You were sitting down doing hashtags and all this stuff. That's not activism. I'm sorry. You know, and activism is active. It's action. There's act in it. What is my activism? Honey, I'm actually losing the damn weight publicly. That is activistic. If I was just sitting here bitching, that's not activism, honey. It ain't. I just can't. I literally was talking to my grandma today and I was like, I'm sure activists in your day, they didn't just sit in their house on their computer, right? And she's like, no. She's like, they went out and did things. I'm like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Anyway, sorry. This article is just really extra. It's driving me nuts. Okay. Okay, with many people feeling pressure to slim down so they're in line with the new Ozempic branded beauty standards. On TikTok, users are referring to it as bikini tax and sharing videos of their various workout routines and diet regimes to illustrate all of the work they're putting into being beach body ready. If it's not that, it's videos promoting the summer cut, aka someone's reductive diet in anticipation of the summer, or it's their summer body prep, another subsection of TikTok with countless videos. The message is the exact same as that advert. Be slim and be beautiful. Be anything else and accept that your social value will decrease so significantly that you don't even deserve to put on a bikini and lie in the sun. Oh my gosh, that is so extra. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it. See if somebody stops you. See if somebody stops you. I guarantee, even if you were thin and beautiful, if you were out in a bikini, there might be somebody that bothers you. It's part of public life. Sometimes people are really annoying, no matter what. That is a toxic ritualistic idea that if you're thin, you're totally fine. You might actually get more attention from people you don't like if you do it. And if you're fat and you do it, you still might get attention from people you don't like. That's life. It's a whole world out there. Oh my goodness. Okay. It sounds extreme, but let's be honest. That's what all of this is telling us, isn't it? I don't know. I don't really hear that. Sometimes you have to think about like what you're hearing is what it's just how you're perceiving it, because I'm not necessarily hearing that. I think in some cases, I think a lot of guys can be really extra sometimes. Like I'll do some reactions to fitness creators, especially in the thin era coming up, not right now. So I'm giving you guys some previews or whatever, what's to come. I'll probably be doing some of that where I think it can be a little too much sometimes, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not that bad. It's like the tiniest critiques most of the time, It's not that bad. I really cannot stand how extra they're being about this stuff. It's like, honey, it isn't a good thing to be obese. It's not a good thing to be fat. Like, you need to just get over it. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. Would weight loss drugs with potentially fatal side effects be so popular if it wasn't? We might be 10 years on from Protein World's ad, but if anything, when it comes to what society validates as beautiful, it feels like we're right back there in 2015, or possibly even earlier. I will continue to say I just don't think that things changed all that much. Which is a problem, which again is also why I'm here. I want things to change, and I'm hoping that they will change, and I do see hope, and I have hope. I do. Heaven forbid. Sorry. But I actually do have some hope. I do. I feel like people seem a lot more open-minded. People are questioning their stances on these issues. People are taking it more seriously. People are thinking about it. You know how hard it was? It's hard to get people to even think about it because people just don't care. That's a harder struggle. But they think that the complete apathy that most people had between 2015 to 2024 or 2023 or whatever, they think that the complete apathy towards obesity is somehow like, it's so threatening now that it's gone and people are actually caring and trying again like they did before 2015. There were still toxic ritualistic issues throughout those years. There were still conversations about not wanting to be fat during those years. There were still diet culture, quote unquote, TM conversations within those years. It wasn't that different. I lived those years too. Like, what are they trying to say? Was it super different for you guys? Let me know in the comments. But like I said, I was working a lot in 2018 and 19. 2019 was a weird year for me, but 2018 I was out there. 2017 I was out there. 2016 I was not having a great time. But there was plenty of quote unquote, there were plenty of statements that being fat wasn't healthy in 2016. I had a hell of a time trying to date in 2015 and 16. It was really tough. I don't know that it was just my weight. I think I was kind of busted, to be honest, but we don't need to get into that. That's a little too real. But I certainly believed it was at the time. Perception can be reality in some cases. Now I'm like, oh, honey, you were kind of busted. But, oh well. Anyways, let me know if it was super different for you. I don't think it was all that different. I feel like it was just a big flop. It was actually making things worse. And thank God they started to fail. And hopefully we can bring something new in that's better. That is my goal. I'm worried about things. I don't want things to go back to the 2000s. I don't think that we're there. I really don't. But I think we could be there. I think there is a wrong path that we could go down. So I am still concerned. And again, I will criticize fitness gurus and stuff too if I feel like it needs to be said. And I do criticize especially people like in my mid-sized princess videos and stuff. Like, I think certain things need to be talked about because we have to actually evolve these issues. We have to actually evolve, not regress. I'm not for regression on this issue. I don't think it was good. I think the 2000s brought the 2010s. I don't want the 2020s to bring some weird version of fat acceptance again in the 2030s. You know, it's like there's always whiplashing, and I just feel like we need to not whiplash. We need to just evolve and step forward and have balance. And that's what I want to do. That's what I know a lot of you guys want to do. And let's do it. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace.